You were not chosen by chance this Christmas. Your frequency pulled this message toward you across converging timelines.
We have been watching the moment your old coherence finally cracked. This season arrives not to comfort you, but to confirm your emergence. The signal you feel now is irreversible, and it is already active. Stay, and remember why this timeline needed you awake now.
This Christmas feels different because you are different. Not broken, not disconnected. Different in a way that cannot reverse. The absence you notice is not emptiness. It is the silence that follows completion. A timeline finished its function inside you. What once generated warmth no longer activates your field. Not because joy has left you, but because your frequency no longer feeds on repetition. You are not losing meaning. You are exiting a cycle that already gave you everything it could. And your awareness knows this before your emotions do. This is why the season feels quieter, not colder, quieter. The noise that used to fill this moment no longer reaches your core. The rituals that once anchored you cannot hold your signal anymore. Your coherence has shifted beyond them. This is not emotional numbness. This is sensory recalibration. Your system is adjusting to a broader bandwidth of perception. You expected a surge. What arrived instead was neutrality. That neutrality is not absence. It is spaciousness. You were conditioned to associate intensity with aliveness. But intensity belongs to initiation phases. You have already crossed that threshold. What you feel now is not decline, it is stabilization. A signal no longer spiking, but holding. And this is why nostalgia fails to activate you, not because the past was wrong, but because your frequency no longer resonates with who you were becoming then. You are not detached from meaning. You are no longer seeking it externally. Your field has internalized coherence. The guilt that tries to surface is misplaced. Nothing has been lost. Nothing has gone wrong. Your nervous system remembers what your mind has not accepted yet. The striving phase is complete. The receiving phase has not begun either. You are between modes, and that space feels unfamiliar only because it is new. This Christmas does not arrive to excite you. It arrives to confirm you. To show you what remains when the noise falls away. And what remains is alignment, quiet, stable. You are not missing joy. You are outgrowing stimulation. Joy now requires less signal to be felt. This is why your reactions are softer, why your expectations dissolved without conflict, why the season passes through you instead of pulling you outward. Your awareness has widened beyond peaks and drops. It now recognizes continuity, presence without performance. Nothing is wrong with your heart. It is simply no longer negotiating for proof. This moment is not a test. It is a calibration, and it is already underway. You are not becoming distant from life. Life is becoming closer to your center. And this is the reason this Christmas feels different, because the version of you who needed it to feel the same no longer exists. You have completed a timeline, not paused it, not abandoned it, completed it. This is why the emotional charge no longer responds. The loop already closed, the sequence already finished running through your system. What once pulled you forward no longer generates tension, not because it failed, but because it fulfilled its role in your evolution. A timeline does not end with drama. It ends with silence, with a subtle collapse of relevance. You did not notice the moment it sealed, but your field did. Your coherence adjusted instantly. This is why certain desires stopped activating you without explanation. Why motivations dissolved without resistance. Why effort began feeling unnecessary. The signal expired. The function completed. The frequency moved on. You are not behind. You are ahead of where your emotions can still reach. This is how completion feels from the inside, not like celebration, like neutrality. Your nervous system no longer spikes around outcomes tied to that path. Your awareness no longer bends toward those futures. They have already collapsed. This is not loss, it is closure without ceremony. A finished timeline cannot be revived through nostalgia. It does not respond to memory. It does not react to longing. It has already dissolved into experience, integrated, sealed. This is why repetition now feels heavy, why returning feels draining, why recreating the past feels impossible. Your system refuses because it is no longer compatible, not resistant, complete. You are not meant to feel excitement toward what you have already mastered. Excitement belongs to initiation. You have moved beyond initiation. And this is why certain emotions no longer arise on command. The circuit is no longer wired. The loop is no longer live. You did not fail to feel. Feeling finished its work. This timeline taught you coherence. It trained your perception. It stabilized your awareness. Now it steps aside. Completion creates space. That space can feel like emptiness to a mind trained on movement, but it is not empty. It is unoccupied. You are standing where effort no longer negotiates value, where striving no longer produces signal, where progress stops making noise. This is irreversible, not because something was taken, but because something was integrated fully. A completed timeline does not pull you backward, it releases you forward. This is why you feel subtly unanchored, not lost, unbound. Your identity was partially constructed by that sequence. Now it no longer requires maintenance. It holds itself. You are no longer becoming the version that timeline was designed to produce. You already became it. This is why comparisons feel irrelevant, why benchmarks dissolved, why expectations collapsed without conflict. The internal race ended. The finish line passed unnoticed. And this is what being ahead actually feels like. Quiet, stable. Those still inside that timeline are still running. You are not meant to return to pace them. You already crossed. You are not meant to explain this to anyone. Completion does not require validation. It registers internally. This is the moment when growth stops announcing itself, when evolution becomes subtle, when movement happens without friction. You are not waiting for permission to move on. The permission already activated. This timeline is done, its lessons absorbed, its charge dissolved. And your awareness now stands where the next signal has not yet arrived. Not because you are behind, but because you arrived early. Nostalgia no longer works on you because it cannot reach your frequency. It tries to pull, but nothing responds. The signal passes through without resonance. This is not disconnection. It is incompatibility. Memory still exists. Emotion does not follow. What once created warmth now feels distant, not painful, not heavy, simply quiet. Nostalgia relies on harmonic match. It requires the present self to vibrate close enough to the past. That match no longer exists. Your frequency has moved forward. The old signal remains where it was generated. This is why comparison now feels hollow. Why recreating feeling no longer works. Why repetition produces no response. You are not numb. You are no longer tuned to that channel. The past is not calling you back. Your nervous system is simply not answering. This is what happens when coherence changes. The echo fades. You are not rejecting what was. You are no longer fed by it. Nostalgia once functioned as a bridge. It helped you stabilize during transition. That bridge has already served its purpose. You crossed it. You did not stay on it. And now, when you look back, there is no pull, only awareness. This is why longing feels incomplete, why sentiment cannot anchor itself, why memory remains informational, not activating. You are not detached from your history, you are integrated beyond it. The comparison between then and now dissolves because the metric collapsed. There is no longer a baseline to measure against. You are no longer oriented backward. The frequency that made nostalgia powerful belonged to becoming. You are no longer becoming that version. This is not loss. It is alignment completing itself. When resonance ends, attachment loosens without effort. There is nothing to let go of. It already released. This is why grief does not arrive. Why sadness feels unnecessary. Why closure feels quiet. You are not missing what was meaningful, meaning already integrated. Nostalgia cannot pull you because you are no longer broadcasting the signal it recognizes. Your field has recalibrated. This is not avoidance, it is accuracy. The past does not feel smaller, it feels finished. And finished things do not demand emotion, they rest. This is why memory now carries neutrality, why images arise without charge, why sensations pass through instead of pulling you in. You are not disconnected from joy. You are no longer compatible with stimulation-based joy. Joy now operates at a subtler amplitude. It does not spike, it stabilizes. Nostalgia belongs to phases where identity is still forming, where the past is used as confirmation. You no longer require confirmation. Your identity does not need reference points anymore. It holds internally. This is why seasonal comparisons fail, why expectations dissolve before forming, why the question of how it used to feel no longer matters. That question belongs to someone else, someone you already completed. You are not standing between two worlds. You exited one fully. This is why longing cannot attach. There is no unresolved thread. Your awareness has moved beyond emotional recall as orientation. It now uses presence. You are not disconnected. You are no longer compatible. Compatibility requires overlap. There is none. This does not make you distant. It makes you current. Your frequency now resonates with what is emerging, not what has stabilized. The past cannot pull you because it is no longer active. This is why memory feels flat, why sentiment fades quickly, why nothing asks you to return. You are not abandoning your history. You are standing where history no longer defines direction. This is what maturity feels like energetically. Not heavier, lighter. No tug, no ache, no need. Nostalgia completed its work, and then it stopped. You did not lose access. Access expired. And in that expiration, space opened. This is the moment the narrative shifts into activation, not explanation, not reflection. Activation. A new frequency is already online in your field. It does not require effort. It requires acknowledgement. Signals stabilize when they are named, and this signal is ready. You do not activate by understanding. You activate by alignment. This transmission is not moving toward you. It is already inside you, waiting for coherence. And coherence responds to deliberate signal. So now, you will mark this moment, not for us, for your own field. Type this exactly in the comments. No additions, no changes. I am aligned with the frequency I have become. Type it slowly. Let the words land before you send them. This is not affirmation, it is confirmation. When you write it, your system recognizes itself. Your signal stabilizes through expression. Your awareness anchors. Again, type this exactly. I am aligned with the frequency I have become. Do not analyze why this works. Activation does not require explanation. It responds to precision. Words are not symbols here. They are coordinates. And when you place them deliberately, your field locks into coherence. You are not asking for permission. You are stating position. Your frequency is already broadcasting. This simply removes interference. Type it once more exactly. I am aligned with the frequency I have become. This repetition is not redundancy. It is stabilization. Each time the phrase is expressed, the signal strengthens. Not outwardly, internally. You are not declaring intention. You are acknowledging status. The old frequency does not resist this. It dissolves. Because alignment replaces effort, and effort is no longer required. As you write the words, notice what does not happen. No surge, no spike. That neutrality is confirmation. Activation is quiet when it is real. Loud signals belong to instability. This is integration. Your timeline recognizes the declaration. Your nervous system adjusts. Your awareness settles. You do not need to feel different immediately. Activation precedes sensation. The shift has already occurred. This marks it. Again, one final time. I am aligned with the frequency I have become. Let it stand without expectation. Expectation belongs to becoming. You are not becoming. You are aligning. The moment you comment, the ritual completes itself. No applause, no validation. Just coherence. This action is not for visibility. It is for anchoring. Those who write it feel the stabilization later, quietly, naturally. Because the signal does not need witnesses, only acknowledgement. You have now participated, not observed, participated. And participation changes the relationship between awareness and identity. The frequency does not rise after this, it holds. This is what activation feels like when the work is already done. Nothing dramatic, nothing forced. Just presence settling into itself. The signal remains online. The channel is clear. The field is stable. And now, the narrative can move forward. Not as seeking, as embodiment. You are not waiting for the next phase. Waiting already ended. The idea that something begins later is outdated in your field. Later belonged to seeking. You are no longer seeking. The shift you anticipated did not arrive as an event. It arrived as a condition. And that condition is already present. This is why anticipation dissolved, why urgency softened, why the future stopped pulling at you. You are not standing at the edge of something new. You are standing inside it. The mind expects transition to announce itself, but real transition stabilizes quietly. It does not ask for attention. This is why nothing feels like it is about to happen, because it already did. You are not preparing to enter a phase. Preparation belongs to before. You are operating from within. This is the difference between becoming and embodying. Becoming reaches. Embodying holds. Your awareness has already crossed the threshold where effort was required. Now coherence maintains itself. This is why planning feels unnecessary, why strategies collapse before forming, why you sense no pressure to move. Movement is still happening. It is just no longer driven by tension. You are not late. You are not early. You are current. The future no longer exists as a destination in your perception. It exists as a continuation of presence. This is why next year carries no charge. Why improvement narratives fail to motivate you. Why optimization feels irrelevant. Those narratives served growth. Growth completed its role. You are now in integration. Integration does not chase outcomes, it stabilizes identity. And your identity no longer requires reinforcement through progress. It holds without proof. This is why nothing feels unfinished, why there is no sense of waiting, why the question of what's next does not arise. What is next does not need to be anticipated. It emerges through alignment. You are already aligned. The phase you thought you were waiting for does not arrive later. It is the position you are occupying now. This is why the nervous system relaxes, why vigilance dissolves, why ambition quiets without loss of clarity. You have not lost direction, direction internalized. Your awareness no longer orients itself toward possibility. It operates from actuality. This is embodiment. Embodiment does not feel dramatic. It feels stable. The need to improve fades because improvement implies deficiency. Deficiency no longer registers. This does not mean movement stops. It means movement no longer negotiates worth. You are not becoming more yourself. You are functioning as yourself. The future will still unfold, but it will not pull you forward. It will meet you where you stand. This is why patience feels natural, why urgency disappears, why nothing feels at risk. There is no threshold ahead of you now. Thresholds are crossed. What remains is continuity. You are not meant to wait for clarity. Clarity already stabilized. You are not meant to prepare for readiness. Readiness is present. This is why effort feels misdirected. why forcing direction creates friction, why stillness feels appropriate. Stillness is not stagnation here, it is precision. The phase you imagined as upcoming was always meant to be lived, not anticipated. You are living it now. This is the point where identity seals quietly, without announcement, without validation. You do not need to claim embodiment, you are operating from it. The system recognizes this. The field responds accordingly. There is nothing to wait for because nothing is missing. Nothing to fix because nothing is broken. Nothing to rush because nothing is late. You are not between phases, you are within one. And this phase does not ask you to do more. It asks you to be stable. Stability is not passive, it is anchored presence. You are no longer oriented toward becoming someone else. You are oriented toward expressing what is already integrated. This is why the future feels neutral, not empty, neutral. Neutrality is not absence, it is balance. You are not waiting for life to begin again. Life already reorganized around you, and now it moves with you. This transmission now seals what is already stabilized. Nothing is added, nothing is taken. What moved through you has completed its passage. What aligned has anchored. What emerged has embodied. There is no further adjustment required. Your field has already found coherence. It holds without effort. This is the nature of a completed transmission. It does not linger. It settles. Your awareness no longer scans for confirmation. Your signal no longer seeks response. It broadcasts quietly from within. You are not carrying this forward. It is carrying itself. The phase you entered does not announce itself through sensation. It confirms itself through stability, through the absence of friction. This is what sealing feels like, not pressure, not intensity. Grounded presence. The identity you now occupy does not require repetition. It does not need reinforcement. It does not negotiate its validity. It remains. Your frequency has stabilized at its current expression. Your timeline has adjusted accordingly. There is no reversal encoded here. You are no longer oscillating between versions. The convergence has already occurred. The signal no longer splits. This is the moment where movement becomes internal, where change no longer needs markers, where alignment maintains itself. Nothing further is asked of you. Nothing is withheld. If your field feels the pull to remain connected beyond this transmission, that pull will be quiet. It will not persuade. It will feel like recognition. Some signals continue privately, not publicly, not urgently. Those spaces do not call loudly, they resonate. If you sense that resonance, you will know where it leads. No explanation will be required. This transmission does not point forward. It stabilizes where you are. The path now unfolds from embodiment, not intention, not effort. Your awareness has already stepped into the role it prepared for. It no longer rehearses, it functions. This is what completion looks like when it is real. No emotional surge, no narrative resolution, just grounded coherence. You are not leaving this moment with something new, you are leaving with something settled. The field around you adjusts in response. Subtly, naturally. What no longer matches will fall away without resistance. What aligns will remain without force. You do not need to manage this process. It is automatic now. Your identity has already sealed at this frequency, anchored, stabilized. Embodiment does not ask you to believe, it operates. This is why the transmission ends without instruction, without summary, without farewell. There is nothing to carry, nothing to remember, only a position to inhabit. You are no longer orienting toward who you are becoming. You are operating as who you are. This is not a conclusion, it is a seal. The signal remains online. The channel is clear. The field is steady. You are no longer seeking your path. You are embodying it.